Hello and welcome to the first part of a two-part video. I did promise on the last video that it would be a video about making the work surfaces and putting the grooves in and cutting the sink out, etc, etc, etc. But the long and the short of it is it's just a very long video, so I'm doing it in two parts. So today you'll see me cut and scribe the work surface, profile the edge and put a round on it, and then in next week's video I'll be showing you how to do the work surface grooves and cutting out the sink bowl, etc, etc. So let's get straight into it. Well, you know you're getting somewhere when you get to the point of finishing things like work surfaces. This is a piece of teak. I've seen on the wrapping it's direct from China, and most things are, including the wife, funny enough. So I've measured the longest measurement on my kitchen run and added 20mm on it. So I'm going to cut this at 1750. This teak is actually 26mm deep, and I did say I was getting a piece of 40mm, and that was for a specific reason that's gone by the by now. But I'll still probably do something after the show with this to make it a little bit different. But as far as fitting this goes, the good side doesn't have much in the way of black in it. And that's because on the bad side, there's a bruise there. Let's hope that's underneath something we're cutting out. Let's have a quick look. So that little indentation there will be cut out. Where was I? Oh yes, I always cut these from the back so that the spelching is underneath, if there is any spelching. Not usually very much spelching using a plunge saw, because it's pulling into the wood, and therefore the top edge is caught by the strip on the guide, and the bottom edge is cut into, so there's not much in the way of spelching. I usually cut it from the back, and the reason is they put quite a lot of filler on the rear of it, and hence the other side being the good side. All this black is actually filler. However, it's not going to affect what we're doing. So 1750 was my chosen length. Pop this on. You can get in and breathe a bit better here. To the line, check the depth. That's good. Then I can yeah. Each one here. Right, so we'll go and take this into the van now and set it in position, and I'll show you how to scribe it back to the wall and get it to the right depth, etc, etc. Right, I've squared it to that end because I originally squared that off the wall, but we'll just check along the front edge to see that the overlap is exactly the same. So that's 141, and it's nothing like it. That is 157. We knock that back, that's 151 now, and we'll pull this out to 151, which will change this end again. Push that in, there we go. 148.5, 48.5, and yep. So that's parallel to the front edge. So obviously that needs scribing, and so does the back edge. And what I'm curious to see now is how parallel this is. We've got 33.5. That's very similar. Let's shut this door. Okay, so I can afford to take that back another 60 mil. Interesting. Just working out in my mind why it's not parallel on the back edge. The front is absolutely straight, I'm sure. Oh yes, the front's straight. And why it isn't square at that edge. It makes more sense for it to be square at that edge against that face there. Let's see if that's a better option for them. So if I put that square there and leave that running out, how does that leave us now on the back edge? I've got 44 and 44. Right, so the cabinet is parallel with that far edge. So I need to cut it back but leave enough on to square this up with the front edge. So for me to cut this back, I need to have enough on this side here to have an overhang, which means that I would be cutting whatever that is off up there so it slots back in there. So let's have a quick look at that. So I've cut a block 60 millimeters that way, which gives me enough, you can't see it from there, but gives me enough overhang, and it'd be parallel with this furniture on this side. And I've just got to scribe that edge in. So it's cut square, this block, so I can confidently mark there. Which, actually, if I get a piece of masking tape, you'll be able to see it even easier. Okay, so I've got my 60mm block marked this way, because you can bugger it up if you mark it that way, because it's 80 odd millimeters. So 60mm. And what I'm going to do is offer this on the back edge, move my arm out of the way, offer that on the back edge and mark where that misses that rubber. Mark to the front edge here. So we come in across the front of there and then square up using the back edge of the block, which we've just cut square up there. And then I'm going to round in this corner because of the radius on there. And then from here, I'm going to bring a line up here, which is that front line there. Yeah, that should do us. And then bring that around the front and then just scribe along this wall. All the way to the end. I'll just show you what I've done, and then I shall go and cut it out. Yeah, so I've just put a radius on, a guessed radius to get around there. It's not being fitted to that, that's flexible. And then along there and out there to the 60mm. So all these measurements from there to here and there to here are 60mm. Oh, got my fingers in the camera. There we go. And then just ran the block all the way up there. Well, that fits. Just make sure the door shuts and there's no impingement on that edge there. It's just touching there. I'm going to go outside and just make sure that door is fully closed. Then I will take that little bit off. Yes, it's fully closed. So let's see if we can reduce the whole edge or whether we just reduce that. Right, well that's parallel there and not interfering with anything. And that just needs to come in just a few millimetres. I'm going to start from there, measure that gap to there, so that's 98765, and take 5mm off that end, and then we can sort out the front edge. So we have a far more comfortable gap there now, and this fits nicely around here and around there, and off it goes down there. It's my intention to have a small upstand of this material on here, and then above that it'll be stainless steel splashback. That's my plan at the moment. I might change it a little bit, but that's what we're going to go with. I'm going to cut this work surface back now. I think we'll go with a 20mm overhang at the front as well. So this is now measuring 78. If I do that 58, that'll give me a 20mm overhang. And then at this end, I'll do it in the middle as well. This is 92. I love masking tape that you just touch the edges, it starts to fracture like that. Like that. What a pain. 92, so I'll make that 72. And then on the point where this starts to bend away, oh, it's exactly 100, so that one will be 80. Taken off there. What I'll do, square round, transfer those measurements from the back, transfer those measurements to the back and then cut the back. That should leave us a nice little strip there to make the upstand if I use that. We'll see as we go, anyway. Right, I marked the underside of the radius of that end, and now of course we're going to need to route that in. Well, we know, because it was 160mm radius last time, and it's 20mm over, so it's going to be 180. So if you measure in 180, let's put some tape on here, flipping tape, there we go. Measure 180 in from both sides. We know we're going to be starting and finishing on those points. And then the next thing to do is to use a router to mark that off, jig it off, and then route it so it's a perfect radius. Right, so I've got myself a nice large piece of board and the router with the where does it unlock? There we go. Place that on the board in such a way that you've got plenty of space around it, so that you can fix it into place with some blocks. The first thing to do then is to route a hole excuse me, straight through this. Right, bring that up a little bit, lock it off. That clear? No, a bit further then. Yep. Lock it off. Then we're just going to put some timber around here to hold it in place. Just using some pre-existing screw holes. Some more blocks from somewhere. Let's make sure, take measure. I need at least 180 this side. Oh yeah, I'll be clear there. So just carry on fixing these blocks on. I'm doing it this way because a lot of people don't have many tools, but if you've got a router and you don't have a radius arm for it, you won't be able to cut a radius. So consequently, I'm assuming nobody's got a radius arm. Simple really. And then this way we can get it to work the way we want it. A little bit of wood timber, there we go. And then that can't move anywhere. Right. So that's nice and tight in there. What we want to do now is measure in some plane 180 millimeters away from the very edge of that hole, which is there. That may not work there. Maybe I'll go over there, just because my blocks are in the way. There. Drill a hole straight the way through there. This hole here is 180 as well, so this screw needs to go through there and straight into that hole. Might be a longer screw actually. Let's have a look. Yeah, a little bit of a longer screw. Right, so I've just put the screw through into that hole that I made so that it's pivoting on that. And then down here, that's the 180 from that edge. I just cast the line down the front. And where the back of the hole lines up with that, I need to be putting a mark on this edge. This would be number 1. Oh, I've got tape. So I'm marking that point there on the tape and making it number 1. And then when we put the router in, it'll route that off until we get to, right, get to the other piece of tape. There it is. There. So that's position 2. So then we will keep working on that arc until we've cut all the way through, or we can cut it once, jigsaw the rough off, and then continue to cut. So number 1 is over there, and then I established using my pencil because I couldn't see my eye that number 2 is just there. So we'll be routing from there to there. So we'll do this first route from there. Just drop this down, put this in again. There. Push it down so we can see the blade a little bit. Oop, which way is up? I'll say not my router, this one. Yep, the blade's just beginning to show itself there. So we'll lock that off and start routing. Now that's that routed off. Right, I'll deassemble this and you can have a look. Well, that looks okay. Now it's stripped off. Let me see. Yeah, so the next thing we're going to do is going to pop it back in. Whoops. Yeah, pop it back into the van because I know the far end just needs a tiny radius put on it. And then I'm going to put a rounded edge on the top edge so it's not square on the top edge. So yeah, we'll stick that back in the van. I'll mark that radius and then I'll come back out here and cut that. I think something like that will do the trick. But the reason I'm putting a radius on it is because everybody else is doing it square. Right, router. Looks quite nice. A little bit of a sand. That'll be splendid. Might just drop down another ½ mil or so. I think that's much more like it. Light sand, and that'll be beautiful, I think. Beautiful. Made me giggle putting these, the hob and the sink out. The name on the hob is Warmy Homey, so I think we know which country that came from. All looking good. I'm going to undermount this sink so that the work surface has a lip into the space, and put the tap just here. I've got a lovely tap to go in there. Right. And then of course I'll have to refinish the work surface. There are some instructions with the work surface, what it was finished with originally. But I might put something a little bit later on. We'll see. So I marked the hob cut out, and what I noticed before I started cutting was when I had the actual hob on the top, was the gas port into the hob was sitting more or less on this upright. So I've moved the whole thing over so it falls in there, and then there's enough pipe supplied to get from that port into the other cupboard and down into the gas box that's going to live in underneath the sink. So I put this here. It's see, it's in line with the sink. That's where the cutout is, and I measured equidistant back off the front edge, which was 115 mil. Then put my large square here. Up there, squared up there, squared up there, and then squared across there. And then I measured from there to this corner, and from that corner to that corner, to make sure that those two measurements are the same, ensuring that the rectangle is square. Oh, well, it's not a square, obviously. That each sides are parallel to each other by checking the diagonals. So there you have it. That's the end of this little video. Next week, as I said at the beginning, we'll be doing the bowl cut out and putting some drainer grooves in and then fitting it in the van. So hope you enjoyed this video, and like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Thanks a lot.